10,
Simple.
9, 8,
Simple,
7,
simple
6,
series. Who
5,
took the simple series?
4,
It's the simple series.
3,
What series?
2,
Simple series.
1.
Heard about a simple series? It's Simple 2000.
Welcome back once again to the Simple 2000 series. Today we are looking at arcade games, or arcade specific games. I think these games fit within like the arcade category, or they might have had roots that were arcade like. So as I'm doing with all of the Simple 2000 English release games, I'm trying to fit them into a category somewhat so I could do a video based around a certain type, like a certain genre, a certain type of Simple 2000 game. And the three games we're going to be looking at today are, in my opinion, fit around arcade. Fit around the whole entire arcade thing. Now, I was able to play 2 out of the 3. The third one didn't work in the emulator, and again, these Simple 2000 games seem to be stupid amounts of money on eBay, in my opinion. You know, I'm not paying 20 quid for the game. You can go do one. So, yeah, so let's jump right in. Now, the first game I'm going to talk about is the game I was unable to play, and I'm kind of glad I didn't have to play it, and that was Pinball Fun. Because it's pinball, and I've already done a video on a load of pinball games before, and I personally don't want to have to ever play a pinball game ever again in my life from that video, from doing that video. So yeah, the game is known as Pinball Fun in Europe. It was published by 505 Game Street. This game was developed by Hunex. In Japan, it's Volume 26, the Pinball x3. And the reason why it's called the Pinball x3 is because it has 3 different pinball boards that you can play on. That's literally it. So it's pinball. That's what it is. There's not much else to say besides the fact that, from what I can see from the gameplay, it looks like pinball. It's pinball. It probably plays like pinball without any queries or questions. But yeah, it's pinball. 3 different boards to pick from. You know, I don't get the whole entire appeal of pinball video games. I said this in my PlayStation Pinball Extravaganza video. I don't get it. I don't get the appeal of these games. Why would you want to buy a pinball simulator? And I know there must be a big market for it, because you got like that Pinball FX video game, which like has boards, different like pinball machines, as you could say, as paid DLC. So it's obviously a market for this. But either way, it's not my type of thing. The next game I'm going to be talking about is Steel Dragon EX, a vertical scrolling shooter. Or in this case, a horizontal scrolling shooter is what I should say. I don't know. I don't know. It's a scrolling shooter. I'm not really familiar with these types of games. I've played a couple of them. Because I think there was one with Phoenix Games, and there's this one. It's okay. You got 2 different versions you can play. You can either play the original Steel Dragon, which is, I guess, the arcade version or something. It's in 2D, whatever. Then you got the EX version, which is in 3D, which is actually, I think, slightly easier. But the game was released in Japan as Volume 37, The Shooting Double Shinryu. I think probably the name of the game in Japan is Shinryu. You know, you got Ikaragi and a lot of different titles that have very similar names. Now, this one was published by Midas and was developed by Warashi. Yes, Warashi. Now, if you're not familiar with Warashi, they're the ones that developed the sequels to the Mahjong and the Shogi. Yeah, they made this. That's surprising, right? You know, Warashi's gone a long way, right? Yeah, it's okay. It's a scrolling shooter. It plays fine. I'm terrible at these types of games. Unfortunately, it is what it is. But in my opinion, it plays fine. It does its job as as one of those types of games. You know, may not be the best out there, but I think it does its job. It's okay. And finally, we have Space Invaders Invasion Day, also known as Space Raiders in Japan. Yes, I bet you didn't think this thing existed. A Space Invaders reboot. Kind of like, it pretty much is like a reboot. And it's surprising how much this game plays like Space Invaders. It's just crazy. So, it seems to be that the story or something, I didn't play the story mode, I just played on survival. But it seems to be that you can pick between 3 characters, and aliens are currently invading planet Earth, and it's your job to try and fend them off. And yeah, so you get these like waves of enemies, and you're at the bottom of the screen, and you can move up and down. You can move around and shoot these enemies, and you can upgrade your weapon. Basically, it's like a scrolling shooter, but you're not scrolling. It's really weird. But actually, I think it's actually all right. I actually enjoyed my time with the game, the brief time I spent playing the game. I actually really enjoyed it. It's surprising. It's just, yeah. So you get different enemy types drop, and they shoot different pellets and whatnot. The different balls, whatever. They shoot different things at you, and yeah, you got to dodge them, shoot them back, destroy them. There's a boss I went up against as well. But yeah, it's interesting. It's very interesting. This was developed by Taito Corporation, and in Europe it was published by Sammy, of all people. Yes, Sammy. But yeah, the game was originally released as Space Raiders in Japan. As like a spin. It is related to Space Invaders. It was just obviously they called it Space Raiders because it was fundamentally very different. But when they re-released it, they re-released it as a Simple 2000 series game. So that's why it makes its way on the list. It was re-released as Volume 52, the Chikyu Shinryokugun Space Raiders. But in Europe, it was released as Space Invaders Invasion Day. So yeah, like I said, interesting game, very interesting. Like I said, I think it plays fine. I think it plays absolutely fine. The game also got released on the GameCube, but on the GameCube, it's very interesting. The PlayStation 2 version was exclusively released in Europe, whereas, besides Japan. And the GameCube version was exclusively released in America as Space Raiders. It's just weird. But yeah, really surprised me. It's not too bad of a game. I don't think it's great by any means, but it's okay. I think it's okay. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is all of the games you're going to be seeing today. All of the arcade games. All of the games that I think qualified as arcade games. Now, we had some interesting ones today. We had Pinball. We had a scrolling shooter. And we had Space Invaders, of all things, appear. What a surprise. I didn't expect it when I was making this list, a couple of years ago, or however long ago I made this list. I didn't expect Space Invaders to be on it, but it is what it is. And I gotta say, the game I enjoyed the most was probably Space Invaders, if I be completely honest. It surprised me. It really did. Don't get me wrong, still Dragon EX is pretty good as well, but again, it's not my type of game. Pinball's pinball. What are you gonna say about pinball? You know what I mean? But yeah, that's the video. I hope you've enjoyed. Please comment and let me know. Did you play any of these games? Have you even heard of these games? What do you think of what you've seen of these games? Would you play them? Probably not. Like, comment, and subscribe. I'm Bio, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.